Hello everybody, it is so good to see you again. This week we are doing a weekly reading vlog, which I am so excited about. Recently they have been some of my favorite videos to watch, so I'm excited to take you through my week and give you reading updates. It is Monday afternoon. I do work tonight and tomorrow night, so I don't know how much reading I'll be able to get done over the next 2 days, but later in the week I have much more free time, so I think I'll be able to make a good dent in some books then. I haven't been reading too much lately, not because I haven't wanted to, but I've been really busy. I'm taking 3 summer courses, but one of them is condensed. So after filming this clip, I actually have to go finish the final for that course. So then for the next 2 months, I'll only have 2 classes, which will definitely be a bit of a weight off my shoulders. I just wanted to go through the books I'm currently in the middle of or at the top of my priority for the week. And then I will get back to you with some footage and updates as the week goes on. I think if this week goes as I plan, I may be able to read more than what I'm about to show you, but I figured I'd not be too ambitious. So the first book is the book club pick, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I am very excited to read this book. I don't think I would have picked it up this week if it wasn't for the book club, but I do think that is part of the reasoning for a book club, and I know once I do, I'm gonna love it. It sounds like a very bingeable read, and I think it's gonna be a great book to be able to talk about in person with other people. So I think I'm gonna start this on Wednesday because I have a very free day. So then hopefully I can finish it maybe like Wednesday, Thursday, if it is as bingeable as I'm thinking it will be. The next book I have is Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. Now I actually read this on my Kindle about a month and a half ago, but I'm doing a traveling annotation book thing with a few friends. We each chose a book and we're sending it to each other to annotate. So then at the end of it, we each get our book of choice with like 9 people's annotations in it, which is very exciting. So I am more skim reading this book and just waiting for the important parts or parts that I want to annotate so then I can pass it on to the next person. I definitely have to finish this very soon because I'm a little behind in the mailing process. I am on page 40, and I've done some annotations, but it's in gold pen, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Next, I have a book that I was buddy reading with a friend a few weeks ago, and I just never finished it, and that is The Hunger Games, but I don't think I ever read the 3rd book, so I'm very excited to get through this one, the second one, to be able to read the 3rd book, and I don't remember all of the more minor plot points of how it ends. And then obviously picking up the new book by Miss Collins, but I'm on page 222. I have about 150 pages left. It is a young adult, so it is definitely a very fast read, so I'll be able to finish this probably in one sitting. And the next book is such an exciting read for me because I read the first book in this series a couple years ago, but the second book hadn't been out yet. So recently I reread the first book. I annotated it so much, and now I'm reading the second book for the first time, and that is For the Throne by Hannah Witten. This is a duology, kind of Red Riding Hood retelling / Beauty and the Beast retelling. At least the first one is. But I'm on page 72. Before the book even starts, I have like annotations on every like introductionary page. So I'm just so excited to continue this. I do plan on offering, like, if anybody wants to send me this book or either of the books on Amazon, then I want to annotate it for them and send it back to them because I just think it's so fun to see other people's annotations, especially books that they love so much. In this series, I just love so much, and I would love everyone to read it. I don't feel like it's that popular, and I definitely would love people to see my thoughts and be able to have a really beloved copy from me. So I hope to make good progress in this week. I don't know if I will or absolutely need to finish it this week, but it does take me longer to read since I am annotating it so heavily. But that is all the books I'm in the middle of. Definitely my highest priorities, and then maybe later on in the week I'll be able to add another book or two if I'm able to read a bunch. So I'm gonna go finish my final, and then I will see you soon with any updates. Okay, talk soon. Bye. I just saw that I got 100 on the part of the final that I have already turned in, so that is very exciting. Good morning. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. It is now Tuesday morning. I do work again tonight, and I have some school to do this morning, but I do think I'll be able to make some good progress in a book or two today. So yesterday I actually got a good chunk of the way through Indigo Ridge. I read just under 200 pages. I think I started on page 60 and I'm now on 248. Now again, this is a reread, so it is taking me a shorter amount of time to read it, because really I'm just looking through to annotate it. I really love this book. I don't know if I explained it when I first mentioned it. So ultimately we have Winslow. She's moving into a small town and she's going to be the chief of police. On her first night, she has a one-night stand with a random guy. He ends up being one of the Edens, so one of the primary families in this small town. And then a murder happens on their land, so it's kind of 50-50 between that romance and this murder and her having to deal with it. And I really love this book. It's a super fast-paced read. I feel like it discusses or mentions certain topics which are important. I definitely think I will finish this before work today and then hopefully be able to pick up another book. I'm thinking maybe finishing the Hunger Games so I can start out on more of a clean slate starting tomorrow and hopefully start Fourth Wing. So I will let you know. I just finished filming my mid-year book freakout tag, which will be up on my channel before this one. But I just wanted to give you a reading update. It is about 4 p.m. on Wednesday. So yesterday before work, I finished Indigo Ridge. Again, I was just skimming it so that I could annotate it and send it off to my next friend. But I love this book. I rated it 4 stars. I definitely recommend this series. I've already read Juniper Hill, which I love that one so much. And I definitely plan on continuing the series sooner than later. So first book / more obligation. This didn't really feel like I was reading it. So it feels like something off my checklist more so. I'm not adding it into my books I read for the month of June. And then I started Fourth Wing this morning. It is very good. It definitely has Hunger Games vibes, which is just so funny because I know people have been, I think they've been saying that, but one of the first scenes, her older sister is preparing her to go into the school or to start the trials of becoming a dragon rider, and she sits her in front of her and braids her hair, and it just immediately made me think of Katniss and Prim, which I just thought was so sweet. I'm currently on page 60. It is a really, really good read so far. It's not as easy of a read as I thought it was going to be. There is definitely a lot of words that are not in our English dictionary, which is perfectly fine. I love fantasy. I don't have anything against that. But one of the main things I heard about this book was that there wasn't any world building, which is true. You definitely get into the plot and the action immediately. I definitely am going to sit down and try to read a lot of it tonight. So ultimately we are following Violet. She's definitely the underdog. They describe her as like tiny and kind of feeble. We're just kind of getting into the story, so I can only imagine where the plot goes. And I know everyone freaks out about the ending, so I almost literally just like read the last page, but everyone freaks out about the ending, so I'm very excited to read this. Okay, I will give you updates. I'm sure I will have many. It is currently Thursday. It's about 12:30. I am about to go to the post office and ship out Indigo Ridge to my friend who will be the next person to annotate it. So that was very exciting, and I should be expecting my next book in the mail very soon. And then I do have a little bit of update in Fourth Wing. Last night I got to page 166. There is just about 500 pages in this book, and I am loving it. It is definitely true that you want to keep reading. I feel like every chapter ends off on a bit of a cliffhanger. I would love to get through a lot of this today, so I guess we will see how that goes. I do have an in-person class tonight, which will take up a lot of time because I have to drive there and so forth. It is giving me major Harry Potter vibes, which I feel like I've not heard, and that is so fun to me. And it's primarily because they're in a school, they have all these classes, but I think a lot of the like dark academia or school settings that I've read in the past few years, they're in school but they never have the physical classes. So the fact that this is like a dragon rider school and they have these like more magical, fantastical classes, they are like talking and discussing that, and you get like the different teachers and personalities of all the students. It kind of feels like the author took every big like fandom from 5-10 years ago, like the Hunger Games and Harry Potter, and put it all into one book, but made it completely original. Like there's no part of me that thinks that she ripped off these stories or stole things from these stories, but it felt like she was able to pull so much inspiration and like maybe her favorite parts of all of these stories. So I just think it is so fun, so original, and I like that she's not scared to be dramatic with it or for the action to be all-encompassing, because it really feels like no one is safe, and like anyone could die at any point. So like the tension and the stakes are really high, but in like a fun, entertaining way, not in a like super high fantasy, hard to understand type of way. So I'm almost halfway through. That would definitely be like the base goal for today. Hello, it is now Friday. Yesterday before class, I read a little bit more Fourth Wing. So I'm now on page 280. I think I read about 40 more pages. Still loving it. It is still so good. And then, which is so exciting, I've been on hold for the audiobook of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I've been on hold for a few weeks now, maybe even like a month and a half, because there were so many people in line ahead of me. And before school, yesterday before I left, I was like, I really wish I had an audiobook for the car. My hold came in yesterday right before I left for class. So I got to listen to some of that. I am now 20% through that. I listen on 1.5 speed, but it is so good so far. I know everyone loves the series and I'm like the last person to start it, but I really do love it. I think the format is amazing. The fact that you have like a multimedia element, and she's writing, basically she's following this murder that happened in her town like 5 years ago. Someone got convicted and she believes he might not be who did it. So she's trying to follow along. You get her like journal log entries, you get interviews, also her like daily life. So it's really fun. I'm really loving that. So that is another book that I started. I really think and hope I finish this today, but I will talk to you soon. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update and I'm gonna go read some more. Okay, bye. Guys, it is now Sunday. I worked yesterday and I forgot. Normally I don't work on Saturdays, so it just made my weekend a lot busier than I thought it was going to be. So unfortunately, I have not gotten as much reading done this week as I thought I would be able to. But again, I want to be generous with myself because I have been in a pretty big reading slump, life slump, so it is what it is. And what I have accomplished so far this week has been amazing. Basically, I want to give you an update on the past few days. It is now about 12:30 on Sunday. I do work at 4, so after I film this clip, I plan on reading a bit more. I finished Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros Friday night. I definitely ended up staying up pretty late to finish it. I really, really love this book. I think I'm probably in between like a 4.5 and a 5 stars. I know everyone talks about this, but I mean, my key points were 100% the academic setting. You get to experience the classes themselves, the like lessons, all the different professors and students, and all of those more menial, like commonplace things. But then you have the dragons. They have personalities. They are so fun. But they're not like, they're real dragons, and it's not done in a cheesy way. They're very violent, big creatures, and you just hope to bond with one of them, basically. So you were primarily following Violet, and then she like makes some friends throughout her school year. She has Dane, who is her lifelong friend. He's a grade above her. And then Zayden, who is a third year, and he at the beginning is kind of like her sworn enemy because of their like family history, but he is the ultimate leader of like her section in the school, so they are obviously kind of like bonded that way and have to interact with each other, especially as the book progresses. So I know I've said this in a previous clip, but this book feels like the author watched and read all of like the significant series from when we were younger, like Harry Potter, Divergent, Hunger Games, and it seemed like she took notes and then put all the best elements of those series into this one book. But it doesn't feel like a ripoff. It just feels like those series feels and has such that unique quality, because this is the first book. The second one comes out in September or November, and I think there's going to be at least 5 books in this series. I will say the ending, like the very, very end, if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. But the very ending, something happens. And it is absolutely, like, it shocks you for sure. But it's funny because like halfway through the book, I was like, this would be wild if this happens. Like, what if? Because that would lead to so many more questions, lead to such a different plot line that would like cause such a moment, you know, because I was trying to think, I was like, what is shocking people so hard at the end of the book? And I thought about it, and that's what it was. So Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, the first book this month that I've officially read for the first time. Like, I read it through. This morning I started another book, which will absolutely take me a bit of time to read, but I'm very, very excited. My partner, he got this for me for Christmas, and he's been like absolutely harassing me to read it. But that is Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. I don't know much at all about this book, except that it's the prequel to Game of Thrones and there's dragons in it. I'm pretty sure in Game of Thrones the dragons are deceased maybe, and like no longer a part of the story. So I'm very excited for this one. I have not read or watched anything else in this world, so I'm interested to see what I think about it. My biggest hesitancy of picking this book up is that it's like obviously a fantasy world, but it's more like medieval oriented, and those aren't my favorite forms of media in terms of like kings and queens. But I know there's a bunch of drama in this book and obviously all the fantastical elements, so I do think I'm gonna like it. I got to page 19 this morning, and so far we're kind of going through the history. I believe it's like we haven't had any dialogue or anything yet, so I think it's more doing all the world building at the beginning. So it definitely feels like a history lesson, but I am able to follow along, and I do think it is setting up the characters and their like qualities and the political system from the get-go. So I'm not mad about it. And something I had no idea this edition had until the other day, but I didn't even know they were this frequent, is that it has images in it, which is absolutely amazing. So these are, like, this is how the pictures look. This is the, like, I think our three main characters. 3 pages later, we have another one. So I just think that is so fun. I have come to realize I don't think I'm an incredibly visual reader in terms of, like, really picturing what they're describing, and that doesn't bother me really, but like the images already are like just heightening my experience. So I'm very excited for this. Again, we are doing a lot of world building at the beginning. I got some very fun book mail which I wanted to share with you. So I sent out Indigo Ridge on Thursday or Wednesday, which was I annotated it, sent it to the next person, and so this is the book that got sent to me. So this is The Island by Natasha Preston. I have seen this before. I do believe it is I want to say it's like an abandoned theme park maybe. So these are all the annotations. So 2 people have annotated it so far. Hello, I am about to get ready and head to work, so I wanted to give you guys my farewell of my very first weekly reading vlog. I had a really, really fun time filming this video, and it's really fun to go back and watch and see what I read each day and how each day went for me. I ended up skim rereading Indigo Ridge at the beginning of this week. I read Fourth Wing, which was a very, very, very good book. I started A Good Girl's Guide to Murder on audiobook. I did listen to more of that over the past few days. I'm now 44% of the way through, and I'm really, really loving it. I do think so far it deserves all the hype, and I'm excited to see like what the twists are that people love throughout the series. I did read just a little bit more of Fire and Blood before I have to go to work, so I'm now on page 40. It is still very like historical, high fantasy based. It is definitely written in third person, so I do think the story is gonna kind of stay similar to how it is currently, but again, I do hope the pace slows and we stay in the same time frame for longer. But I think as we get a little bit further, that is going to be the case, and we are going to get more main characters and main plot lines established. But I am really liking it. I really am liking the fantasy element, hearing about the dragons and like the drama that's already been going on. So again, not the most productive reading week in terms of quantity, But I would say quality, I read some very good books. I had a really good week in terms of annotating and reading forthwith. Please let me know how you liked this video and the structure, and if you have any suggestions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sure this video is going to end up being a slightly longer one, but I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for sticking with me and watching me, and I will see you very soon. Bye!